Welcome to The Heaven, a 5-star Airbnb situated in Nakuru, Naka. Ample parking, tight security 24/7, smart lock on the door, homely ambience. The interior is superb, fully furnished with modern lounge, fully equipped kitchen with dishwasher, washing machine, cooker, fridge, Wi-Fi, smart TV and board games. 3-bedroom apartment, 2 master en suites, common bathroom. The Haven. It's located along the old Nairobi Highway. Come and enjoy the presidential stay at The Haven, where we welcome you to a home away from home.
Welcome, Karibu, Sash and Style Season 2, Episode 2. Today I have beautiful guests. I don't know where to start from. Is it my left or my right? They say ladies first, so I'd like you to introduce yourself to our guests.
My name is Hilda Milanoi. I'm the reigning Miss Heritage Kenya.
Yeah, Milanoi, welcome to our studio today. We'll have to hear more about you later on. Karibu. Gentlemen,
Yes.
Karibu.
Asante.
Let Kenyans know who you are.
My name is Justus Kisava, also known as Legacy. I'm a Legacy Creatives.
Great. For the first time, I have a competition with my beard. So Legacy is going to tell us what he does. He's one of the greatest photographers I've worked around with. And like when we started the episode in episode 1, we said this is eye on modeling, fashion, and style. And photography plays a major role on both style and modeling and pageantry. Without further ado, when the season of pageantry, just recently, our queen did very well in Miss World. She was in top 40, and amazingly, the entire Eastern African countries, Somali, Ethiopia, Southern Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, were all in top 40. It means this region is doing very well. And with this, then we'll get more tact to be able to be in the top 8 like Uganda did. Without further ado, Miss Heritage, tell us briefly how you got into pageantry.
Well, I got into pageantry in 2017 when I first contested for Miss Catholic University. So when I joined Catholic University, that was the time, like around May, that was the time they were having their Miss and Miss Catholic University 2017. So I approached the guy who was Mr. Kwe at that time, Duren Morethi, and was like, I'd like to learn this thing, I'd like to contest for this. He was like, yeah, you can try it. So he trained me. He has been like coaching me all along.
Wow. So most of the models that have come, some of them were, my mother was a model. I started this in the younger age. So you started in campus, which is good. So, Legacy.
Yes.
Justus. Photography is key component in pageantry, not just pageantry, just in anything that happens. One time I was making a joke. Those guys who lived during our time, mostly probably the generation today may not understand the importance of a photographer. So in the village, one of the most important things was that photographer. For example, in a funeral, there must be a photographer for memories. So then, those guys who've lived in my generation probably would understand what was used to be called negative. If that negative disappears, then there's no photos. So you can imagine in the process where the pastor is almost laying the dead, then film imeisha. So everything has to be stopped for them to go to the village. Maybe this photographer has a bike, so we have to hold for another 45. That's how important a photographer is. So Legacy, how did you get into photography? Is it a career? Most of us, what we do, people don't believe that's a career. So give us a brief of how you started.
Well, if I can trace back my journey, it starts a long way ago while I was still a child, primary school. And my uncle used to have a camera, Blue Mix, Kitamban and Kodaks.
Yes.
You remember those ones?
Yeah, I remember Kodak.
Yeah, black.
Yes, yes.
So he would come to Shags with it during December only. No one was supposed to touch it except for him. But in a way, I used to be sneaky, get it, then go take my friends. You know, like he used to count the frames that are in the camera. So I would go waste them like 5 or 6. Then he would go back. He didn't know because they are not digital, so you cannot preview the pictures taken. He would come back to Nairobi, go to the dark, it's called dark room. Then they are washed, then they are printed. Then you would notice that there are strange pictures because the camera was for family only. Then he would come again after 12 months, that is December, bring us the picture, and then we take others, you know?
Yeah.
Then I got to high school. I used to work with my English teacher. He used to have a digital camera. I would borrow him whenever we have an event, go take pictures, come sell to the students, make few coins. Same case to campus. That is where like I developed like a key interest in photography because that was way more advanced. I took mass communication in Multimedia University. That is back in 2015. Then after that, I came to Photomagic School of Photography. I managed to be like amongst the best. Then the RITU adopted me to be one of the photographers at the Photomagic. You remember?
Yes, yes.
We were in Gong Road that time,
Yeah.
Photomagic. Then he challenged me with some gigs. Yours was one of it. Miss University Kenya 2016, I think.
16, 17.
I was there. I didn't know much, but I believed in myself. So that is like a brief
Wow.
journey.
I kept saying in this program, there's something called consistency. The young man started all the way from primary school through high school and just loving this, went to university, learned, and came back to School of Photography. Photomagic is where we are today, the studio. That's where he learned his photography. And the first time I met him, we were in Mombasa for the boot camp for Miss University. Like I said, one of the most aggressive pageant is Mr. and Miss University, where we do a boot camp out of the city and get these guys involved. So we'll get more to know more about Justo, and how well he's developed his career. So, Madam, you're in campus, you've got this young man who's training you and is a mentor to you. It's now almost 7 years, 2017, now 7 years. And I've watched you grow. I think I met you during the rain and a number of pageants, and you represented Kenya, I think last year or the year before.
I was supposed to represent last year,
Yes.
but we lost one member of the organization, so I will represent Kenya this year.
Oh, sorry, then you've done very well. I've seen you, I've had you. There's something I keep telling the models about branding. I think you've done your brand very well. So you've done Mr. and Miss Catholic University, Catholic, and how did it go? Did you win?
It was my first time.
Yes.
I didn't even know how to walk in heels, and it was like 5 days training to the main event. So I didn't even walk in heels. I just went with like flat shoes, and I performed well. Well, I wasn't in top 5, but I really performed well. I was so proud of myself, and that really motivated me to keep going.
Okay. So
Excuse me, can I have some tissue?
yes. After now the Miss Catholic University, Did you get into any pageant thereafter?
Yeah, I participated in BIPE, Beauty of Africa International Pageant, and I won in my county, Miss BIPE Narok. We competed in Kakamega, and I was able to get to the top 10. That was actually my first time to like proceed to the question and answer. And I did well too. I was asked a question, tell me about yourself. And like I went blank, but I still did well, and I was proud of myself from there. I kept practicing on my question and answer.
Wow, just leave it there. Very important part of pageantry is question and answers. We'll come back to that. Mr. Justice.
Yes.
Now, you've been thrown into a shack, you said, when you got to 2016 and we're in Mombasa and you're there doing your thing. And this, I think, was the first big project. Well, like 30 of us during that time. Could you explain after that, how did it go?
So this is 2016. I'm doing Mr. and Miss University Kenya. We're having a boot camp along Gong Road. Where was it?
Demi Gardens.
Yes. Then after there, we're going to Mombasa to shoot for a whole week. I hadn't been involved in such a big project like that before. So it was my first time. I have all the equipment I need. All I need is just to shoot. The models were there. I need to document. We need to wake up 4 a.m., shoot till late 10 p.m. It was a nice experience, I could say, and it opened my eyes. From there I talked to Neritu to use his studio. I remember my first solo project was doing Miss World Kenya. All the contestants that had participated during that time, like I did their portraits and I had a theme. Because I remember Miss Meru, by that time reigning Miss World Kenya. I called her, talked to her, she agreed, came to the studio, we did some portraits. Like I did all of them, almost like 14 from the different counties.
What
that
year
was my
was that?
solo project.
What year was that?
2017, I think. She was from Kiambu. I don't remember her name. Eve something.
Yeah, Eve Mwangi, former.
Yes,
was Miss Maseno University. Then the winner was decrowned, then she became Miss World. Yes, I remember Eve, yes.
Kina Miss Machako. So I did all that project on my own. And I could say it was an achievement because I hadn't done such a thing before.
Congratulations from trying Miss University, then going into Miss World, which is now the epitome of pageantry in this country. So just leave it at there. I'll come back to you. Hilda, you're now off from university projects. You've done BIPE, Beauty of Africa International Pageant, which is one of the biggest African pageants. And now you're in Kakamega, a different county from Narok, and you're in question and answers. Most of the time, we find ourselves either you make it or breaking the question and answers. And that's where there's a division between who's gonna win and who's gonna carry the crown. Because already when you question and answer, that means you already won the pageant. It's only that we need somebody who is going to carry the brand that year. So you're in Kakamega. How did it go? It's your first time for question and answer. Most of the time, even us who've been on screen for long, sometimes you get tense and stuff like that. How was it?
Well, it was tough considering it was my first boot camp, my first time to question and answer, and actually my second pageant without training. So it was quite tough because I met models who had like experience for years, and the competition was so tough. So I just gave my best shot. I just said my name and everything else evaporated. Like I didn't even tell anything else about myself.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. And this is what we are working on, trying to make sure we don't just go into pageant like that. People think pageant is just waking up and doing it. There's so much that needs to be done before you get on stage to be able to achieve whatever you need to achieve. Just to tell you, during the boot camp, there's some time when we just have a whole evening of training on question and answer, how to just even hold the mic, not even how to answer. Because sometimes you find it's your first time to hold the mic. You're very smart, you can answer that question, but now you don't know how to hold the mic, and you can see the contestant already freezing and shaking, not because they don't know the answer, but there's just that tension. It's the first time you're doing it. So when you froze, what happened?
I just froze. I said, my name is Hilda. I didn't say anything else. Then the judge was like, I was like, I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, it's not the first time it has happened, even in the bigger stages like Miss Universe, Miss World, Miss International. You just go blank. And sometimes, maybe just so to tell you, but in the media, sometimes they do like 15 takes. Even the likes of Akina, Jeff Kwenange, sometimes they go blank. So most of the time, as a people, without training on how to answer, how to be on screen, sometimes we judge ourselves so much. So I think the best thing is when you get there, just talk. It doesn't matter what you're saying. If you've noticed in some pageants, guys are bring in translators and say, okay, Asian, and these guys are talking English. Like Koreans, they don't believe in English. So I bring a Korean to translate for me my thing. So again, never get embarrassed. If you can't speak good English, or you think, it's not about speaking good English, you think that at that point in time, I can't. I'll speak the Luo that day, I'll answer questions. Do you know what that does to you? You become the celebrity of that thing. Hey, that chick answered in Luo. So I think it's creative, and creative is about how well do you outdo the rest. I remember in 2005 Miss Universe, we called it Face of Africa. So what happened was, one of this lady, who is now a prominent designer in Italy, she looked at the contests towards the end. She realized, I won't make it in top 5. So the only thing I can do is get the attention. This was one of the biggest events I've organized, pageantry. The guest of honor was Mama Ngina Kenyatta. The other guest was the VP then, Moody Awori. So it's who is who in this. What she decided to collapse. She fell on stage, so everything, tension, Big Ted. That time Big Ted was Big Ted, not now. Had to carry her off stage, and the entire media, because when the president, the first lady is there, the entire media is there. So the entire media moved to Rosemary. She's called Rosemary Tiago. So later on, I asked her what happened. She's like, Licky, I just needed to be noticed. I'd spent so much money, time, and I realized these guys are not going to give me the crown. And that's the year Miss Universe 2007. That's this girl in America. What's her name? The name disappeared, but I remember. But again, in creative, but just do your best to be recognized. Legacy.
Yes.
We're now on, and you're doing now pageantry photography. You've done Miss Universe, Miss World Kenya, portrait. One of the key things is photographers, apart from the story I was giving you about funerals, I know the most popular people in pageantry are photographers. Why? Because they have the key. A photographer would get anything they want because the models want the photos.
Yeah.
How do you handle such situation where you've become a celebrity? You have photographed 20 of the best of Miss Queens of that year. let's say Miss World. Now, of course, everyone wants to see their photos. How do you handle a situation like that?
I could say from my first and second projects, I didn't know how to handle, because I would take pictures, uh, just give them anyhow, because I didn't understand that is like the job, there's the client, then there is the subject. The subject here is the models. So the models want, let them call them models, because yeah, beauty pageantry.
Yeah.
So we used, like, they want their pictures, but I remember you telling me clearly, don't send the pictures to them directly, because they will misuse them. Others, they will just have fun with them. For them, it's about fun, you know. Then the third project that we did, that is 2019, I think, the one we went to Kisumu for Miss University Kenya. That is where now at least I'd gained more knowledge on editing, taking good pictures, and delivery modes. That is at least packaging the pictures, then giving to you. Then now you can distribute them to the rest of the crew. So, to your question, it is tricky, I could say, because some accused me of favorism, like I'm favoring some because maybe we have talked with them for like during the training, maybe we used to get, what is it, like we were so comfortable with each other than others. So you find like we are talking more, others we are not. So the more we talk, the more like I
Click, yes.
take more pictures of you, and maybe I can send to you. So the others accuse you of like giving other pictures to others than, and not giving their pictures to them, you know. Others would like ask if they can pay for the pictures, you know. But you know, like this is a contract. You cannot just go having a contract of another contract.
Subcontract, yes.
Yeah, you know. So it is tricky. It is tricky.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Justice is saying is most of the models probably don't see the importance of photos at that point in time when they're at boot camp, or just taking those photos. They want to take one, two, and just forget about it. As a brand, you need, because the most important thing is you as a person, and the only way you can do that is by doing photography. So you find some people, either it's a waste of time for them, then they realize, oh, Hilda was looking very nice, why did I take photos? Why did you take me photos? And again, photographer want to click where they see interest. I mean, I've gone, for example, let's say geographical photographer. He cannot just take a giraffe is standing.
Yeah.
Probably there's a pose of the neck is moving and stuff like that.
Or you show the scene.
Exactly.
The scene where the giraffe is. Yeah.
Moving. So also with models, sometimes we decide, I don't want to click, I don't want to smile. Probably the photographer is telling you, check left. So ananisumbua, why is it meaning? But then when you realize, oh, if I did exactly that, it would have been the best photo ever. Now, Hilda, have you encountered photography where you think photographer anakusumbua, you need to do other things than try and stay there for 2 hours trying to get the best photo?
Not really.
Yeah.
For me, I take photographers as like my best friend in pageantry, because at the end of the day, even if I don't get that crown, I still want to have my photos with me. So I try as much as possible to be close to the photographers.
Great. One of the things that I've come to understand, a lot of our models, in fact 98% do not have what I call a portfolio, which is key if now, maybe not so important in pageantry, but now want to move into modeling as a career, fashion and stuff like that. Justice, could you please explain to our audience how important it is to have a portfolio as a model?
I could say, like in every election, we have competitors.
Yes.
And one of the criteria used to like downsize the number of candidates is what is called your education and academic qualifications.
Yes.
Those people take them seriously. You remember Mike Sonko, before he became governor, there was a qualification you have to have maybe a degree. He didn't have,
Yeah.
but he had projections like in the next 10 years, or 5, I have to be the governor. So he had the normal diploma, so he had to go back again.
Yes, I remember when to
Yes.
Yeah.
So he had to achieve the degree so that he can vie. The same case applies to modeling. You can't say I've been vying for Miss, let's say Miss Catholic, I'm a queer. Then now you want to advance. Because you're queer, maybe there is no qualification or academic because you're in school still. Then now you come to Miss University, no, Miss Earth or Miss World Kenya. Then you come, there is qualification height, there is maybe education, something like that. And then now there is the portfolio. That is where most of the people don't get it right. Most of the people you'd ask them for like a portfolio, they would send you maybe selfies, pictures they have taken in
Many
maybe
times,
burials, weddings, with backgrounds of food or background of people crying, They think that is now the portfolio because in their eyes, that is the best picture they have. But what we mean by portfolio is like, who are you? Without me asking you, like Hilda, I can't, like, without asking you, who are you? If I get your portfolio, I can be able to know your whole history in this, in your career, Like pictures with you, with the address, pictures with bikini, if it's allowed, pictures with mugshots, portraits, outdoor, studio, maybe, something like that. So I'll be able to know at least when you wear this outfit, it goes like this. When you're in studio, maybe you're smiling. When you're serious, have as many as possible. It helps a lot because at least it is something that is considered in pageantry almost every pageantry.
Yeah, you're right. One of the most important thing is, and you put it very well, you must graduate from a class to another. So probably like Hilda told us, she got there, and most of the models, friends have told them, you can do it, you're beautiful, go for Miss. Then they realize, it is not about being beautiful. There's so much behind pageantry than beauty, the outer beauty. So after COVID, like I said, the only pageant that was able to do the 2 years of COVID was Miss Earth without going into a break. And we realized, like even Miss World now, before you go for the auditions, they ask for a video or pictures of you. Now, these videos are key because they'll try and look, is she a very serious person, depending on what you present. Now, it's not very cheap to do photography. But again, there's something we say, networking and brand connection. So sometimes a photographer needs just a beautiful person to take photos, and then you say, I'll give myself as a model, and then you'll share the photography. So you don't spend so much. And that's why in the program I said the most important thing in this life is social capital. So again, like you said, most of your friends are photographers, and most of our models have not realized the most important person in this whole eco circle is the photographer. So when we come back, we're going for a break. We'll start with Hilda just to tell me which photographers she's worked with and how well photography has helped her uplift her standard and getting to where she is as Miss Heritage Kenya. Hilda, we'll see you after break. Thank you so much, viewers. We come back in a few minutes after taking our break. Asanteni sana for keeping your eyes on TV. Asante.
Welcome to The Heaven, a 5-star Airbnb situated in Nakuru, Naka. Ample parking, tight security 24/7, smart lock on the door, homely ambience. The interior is superb, fully furnished with modern lounge, fully equipped kitchen with dishwasher, washing machine, cooker, fridge, Wi-Fi, smart TV and board games. 3-bedroom apartment, 2 master en suites, common bathroom. The Haven. It's located along the old Nairobi Highway. Come and enjoy the presidential stay at The Haven, where we welcome you to a home away from home.
Part 2 of Sash and Style, Season 2, Episode 2. Beautiful people, we have a great photographer and a beauty queen. We're just in the process before we took a break discussing photography. Hilda, before we went for break, you had mentioned photographers are your darling. There's that eyes in that lens, which is key. And not everybody is able to achieve. Not all photographers model photography. I think it's one of the most difficult photography to take. Let me know how photography has helped you in your journey of modeling, and how well you relate with your photographers.
So I learned about the importance of photography when I was contesting for Miss Earth in 2021. And that time, like my friend Mildred, she used to get like a lot of photos. When we get the link to download photos, she had a lot. And some of us never even had like 1 or 2 to post. So I realized she was like very close to the photographer. They always vibed. So from then I realized that the secret is befriending the photographers. And I think photographers are doing a nice job in pageantry.
Oh, great. Ladies, men in pageantry, in modeling, in fashion, the most important thing is photography, simply because it gives you memory of what exactly happened. I have photos when I was a young boy, in fact a young kid, that's 40 over years, and nobody will ever remind you. You'll hear stories. Oh, you are a noisy kid, you did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the only time that memory comes back is when you look at that photo. So model, fashionistas, everyone that is involved in this industry, you need to be very, very close to photographers. I was talking to one of my models that I sent to Guinea late last year, and they went for a fashion and cotton industry, African cotton industry. There were over 46 countries there, and apparently there's only South Africa and I think Nigeria that models had their portfolio. You will never step into New York, Tokyo, Japan, London fashion weeks without a portfolio. And I've seen it now also, just the normal local fashion weeks in Kenya, where the organizers want to see a portfolio. It may not be very expensive. We start from somewhere. But like Hilda said, please make sure you're a friend to a photographer. And it doesn't cost you. Like just as said before he left, some people think you're disturbing them. Hey, pose, you have a good look, let's do this. So most of the time, the best photos are those that you're taken when you're not aware or you're not ready. Sometimes you want to go and do that serious makeup, it backfires. So again, I'm not a photographer, but I've seen what photography has done to me. I have one of my best photos that was taken in 2009 by Mrs. Boniface. It was just a simple, I was in my basketball, and that I still value that photo till today. Probably people thought Boniface is the best photographer. For me, I think Madame did the best job. Just as one of the things that we're getting here is sometimes either models think you guys are too expensive or unapproachable, or because you speak to Hilda March, probably there's something in between. So they try to avoid that. How do you try to get the models, the designers to understand that without you, then there's so much that they're losing out? I mean, if I have a dress and I have to sell that dress and I'll never see it again, the only way to say I did that dress is by what? Either videography or photography. So could you help me talk to the models, to the fashion designers, to help them understand the importance of your career as a photographer?
You remember I had mentioned after the Miss University Kenya 2016, I did a solo project.
Yes.
I'm not a model. I was trying to advance my career. I took an initiative. By that time, I wanted to venture into model photography and such a stuff, which most of the photographers haven't like ventured into. But it has its own challenges. So my point is, that time I took an initiative. I wanted to advance my career, and I didn't have budget because I was trying to start. I had a friend who was a makeup artist. I had a upcoming stylist, my friend actually, and I explained the idea to the makeup artist. She was called Modelisa. Then Maria was the coordinator of everything. Then now, for myself, I used to call the beauty queens one-on-one. I used to like go to the Facebook page, your name, Nini contacts, inbox, you're available this day, we shoot, Nini, I will give you the pictures. So it was more of a collaboration project. No one paid anyone, no one lost. I take you pictures, I send you, you go have them on your portfolio. The makeup artist, her job is seen. The stylist, you take the pictures. So you can see it's a win-win.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be expensive. If you have to pay, you can pay. That is. But if you don't have like a budget, you can find like a cheap things like clothes, shoes for your own. Then even call me, tell me, I have this idea, what can you think? What do you think about it? We find a new location or a nice place, we shoot, we get you the pictures, I add them to my portfolio, and everyone wins.
Great.
Yeah.
I think I'm loving what is happening in Nairobi now. Every corner of the street, there are photographers.
Yeah, true.
I can see them with umbrellas. When we were growing up, a photographer with an umbrella was just, you're a millionaire.
Yeah, true.
So one of the things that you said very important is collaboration, which is key. For example, I would not have done this podcast if I didn't have a collabo with Photo Magic. It's quite expensive. Probably I'll just be dreaming about doing it. We have almost 6-7 cameras here. Somebody else is just doing a ring for their podcast, and they're still achieving what they're achieving. Maybe one day, one time, they'll have developed to this advancement. Some people believe you can only do proper photography in studios, which I don't think is correct. There are some beautiful photos. For example, some of my greatest photos I took at Ngong Hills, just so the sun is going down. And that natural light just makes photography so beautiful. So upcoming models, proper models. I know a lot of Kenyan models don't have portfolio. I cry, I plead with you guys, like the great photographer said, you don't need to have that much money. You need yourself, you need to network, you need to talk about it. Hilda talked about, she never realized how important those photos were till when she was there, and she's been there for a week or two, and she doesn't have a single photo for her to say, I did this. So once you see a photographer on set, probably you're just even auditioning. I was looking at last weekend there was the auditions for Kitenge Festival at Delight School. And there's a lot of photography. I mean, it brought just Kitenge live. So people would think it was the Kitenge Festival happening. It was just an audition, but because of the photography that went out there. So Hilda, you've learned the art of loving photographers. Loving does not mean loving the one most people believe, but just being a darling to them. Where I know for me to pass that A in mathematics, I must study so hard. So for you to pass in modeling, you must have proper photos. And proper photos can be very expensive. So with that art, would you wake up one day and say, I have 3 people that I can call, and at least one of them will take me photos if it's needed urgently?
Yeah, I actually have 2 photographers. In case of an emergency, I can always call them. There's a student Kitengela called Honsoft and my friend Lastborn Photography. So in case I need maybe a video or a photo and it's urgent, I just call them because they'll always be there. We've worked together. We are like partners. We've worked together and it makes it easier for me.
Yeah, I was just reading somewhere and say the most photographed people in this country are the Maasais, because when tourists come, they like their attire because they've remained with their natural heritage, Yomis heritage, and it took me back and thinking before I think 2018 or 2017, Louis Vuitton took the Maasai outfit and took it to the New York Fashion Week. It looked amazing. We never thought about it. We always thought it's a Maasai outfit and stuff like that. And after that, I realized Kenya started using it when we go for hikes, when we go for camps. Usually there's somebody with a Maasai lasso. You, from your name, you come from this tribe that has a lot of heritage. I think one of the most beautiful beauty queens that I have seen in this country was Maasai. This is Deborah Senepe, 6'1", long legs, amazing person, eloquent and stuff like that. Did this push you for Miss Heritage, or you just chose it because it was a contest?
I actually chose Miss Heritage because I'm Maasai and I could resonate a lot with our heritage. So I first saw Miss Heritage poster, but by the time I was applying, someone had already been chosen for Miss Heritage at that time. So I texted that queen on Instagram and was like, I'd like to be the next Miss Heritage. Like, what are the steps that I can follow for me to be the next Miss Heritage? She told me, just wait. After I represent Kenya, I'll let you know when they're having their next auditions. So when they were having auditions, she texted me and I decided to go for it.
Wow. I've talked about this. When you want, go take. Nobody will give you anything in this world. Be it politics, pageantry, you must go and pick it. Hilda saw and said, this is what I want. I want to sell my heritage, and my heritage can only be done in this pageant. Then she finished her reign. You're preparing yourself for the pageant. One of the questions I wanted to ask was, I know there are Maasai both Kenya and Tanzania. I know there's Maasai in Narok, there's Maasai in Samburu, there's Maasai in Kajiado. Where do you come from?
I was born and raised in Narok, a village called Olokurto.
Olokutro.
Olokurto.
Olokutro. We launched Miss University about a month ago in the Masai Mara. Very interesting. I never knew there's a village inside the Masai Mara, and the Maasais there were very friendly. Maybe majority of them have now gotten into probably forgetting their culture in terms of the lasso dressing, but that does not matter. I think the most important thing is, do we still have our rungus? Do we still have our kettle? Do we still have to move from point one to B? I want to see not just Miss Heritage promoting the heritage of this country. I want to see Miss World promoting the heritage of Kenya. I remember in 2000 in 2000 when Miss Kenya almost won Miss World, Jerry Springer, the master of ceremony, asked some key question. Hey, Yolanda Masinde, how are you? How is the Masai Mara? Then that Masai just comes out all the time and every other time. So I'm grateful that you're doing a good job in terms of selling our heritage. I was looking at your video that you're going to present in the international. It's authentic. It's the what do you call the manyata. You are dressed in our lasso and the beads. It just looks out of this world. So thank you so much for getting us right there. And anybody going into pageantry, there's usually that part where they're asking for the national dress. Let's be key and ready to sell Kenya as a destination, as our beautiful Masai lasso, which Louis Vuitton is using now as their part of their brand. Let's tell them it originally came from Kenya before 2016, before they got into the fashion week. Tulikuwa tunaing'ara. So if I get back, just as one key thing, you've moved from just trying to get work, and I'm proud of you. You're doing a lot of creative work, not just photography. I think before we got into the studio, I was talking to you about the Safari Rally. I can imagine in 2016-17, you're hustling to perfect your photography. Today, no international event that is happening in this country that you're not there. I saw you during the Kenya Open. Kenya Open is one of the biggest golf tournaments in this continent. Next week, you're in Naivasha for the Safari Rally. The Safari Rally now has gone back to the world circuit, world race competition. How did you be able to maneuver and get into the class of the who is who in photography in less than 10 years?
Actually, if I can trace back my change in photography, because back in 2016, 2015, you can bear me witness, photography was taken for granted. People would go to the boardroom, decide an event, plan everything. 2 days to the event, oh, we don't have photographers or videographers. Are you available? How much? 10K, 5K, you know? no negotiation, take it or leave it. But we reached a point like people saw the importance of photography and videography in each and every event. And those days, I remember opening my first ever, it's called name, business name, and a legacy. It was legacy photography by then. It was me. I used to do everything for myself.
Yeah.
Shoots. I remember I used to shoot decos, events, 1, 2, or 3, or even organize shoots at Arboretum for models, charge 1,000 bob for limited pictures, get 10 people, shoot the whole day, get maybe 10K. It was a hustle. Then it reached a point I talked to Nderito, and he had to advise me on a few things. And from that conversation that we had, I opened my my company. It was a limited company. It's called Legacy Creatives, where now you accommodate graphic design, you have a videographer, you have editor, you have photographers. So now when someone or a company comes to you, they come to you company to company, not company to a person. No, when companies hear another company, they respect it because they know there are terms involved. If you breach their contracts, yeah, there are consequences, So they have to brief you. They have to give you their requirements, their terms too, And through referrals and through agencies, we have agencies, so many agencies. I never knew like we have agencies. I used to say I want to work for ABL. I can shoot this tasker, go there and in the office, present it to them. It never works like that. Or Safaricom, shoot a nice advert, take it directly to them, but it never worked like that. You have to pass through agency. You do your work, they approve it. Now they give you to the next client they have. If you do a nice job, they give you like you're saying for Safari Rally. The first time I went there, I just went to spectate. I never used to get any. I never had any job. Then after that day, I wrote down the number of sponsors in that event. He said 1 Safaricom, 2 EABL, 3 Airtel. Like there was several. When I came back, now I approached them because I went with my camera, took nice pictures, made sure like the brand resonates with the event. So you take a picture of maybe cars with their branding. So I came back, presented to them, and the next year that I went, I had with the client. So everything I normally do, I can do even for pro bono, for free, but I know my achievements, what I want to achieve in goal. The same thing applies to MKO, that is Magical Kenya Open, the golf tournament. I've been shooting Magical Kenya for the last 4 years, consecutive, and every year is through different clients. This year we were shooting with Johnny Walker, that is through EABL. I've always wanted to do with the EABL, and now it finally came. So I'm praying and hoping that they will continue with the, with the partnership through different agencies that we have.
Great, you answered it so well. Hilda, one thing that I've had a problem with mostly models, they say I'm a freelance. I don't know what freelance means, but in English it's a word that is in the dictionary, so every word has a meaning. But like just as I've put it very well, you'll want to do stuff. You want to do a billboard for EABL, you want to do something for Airtel, you want to do something for even Pambazuka. You can't just walk into EABL and tell them, I'm the most beautiful girl. I think my fingers look nice in that bottle and stuff like that. You'll not even be given a listening. So my question is to you, do you have an agency? How do you operate as a model out there? Or do you deal with the franchise owner and stuff like that?
I think I'm among the models who say they freelance, but for me, my sister is like my management. So if I have like an event, my sister. I always go with my sister. She's the one who talks to the organizations I want to work with or the clients. She's the one who like goes with me everywhere. She manages me in general.
Okay.
And I think that's easier compared to when you go alone as a person.
Yeah, very true. You not be taken very serious as a model and just walk and say I'm a freelance. Companies want to get somebody who's responsible, reliable. When Justice started this, he registered a business name. A business name, you still do business, you can open an account, but the corporate blue chip companies will not take you serious because it's you. When you move into limited company, then you have no responsibility. The secretary, the lawyer, then is going to be in a problem. Now, if you go in as a model, if anything happens, maybe you disappear or you become sick on the day of the shoot, they have to stop everything. But if you have an agency, they can immediately push in someone to sit in on your behalf and make it happen for the company. A lot of us want to escape that because one, it takes us back to that portfolio thing. A lot of time we don't have a portfolio, we don't have anything that will push to a client. But one, if you have an agency, first they'll make sure, the first thing, they'll ask for your portfolio. If something is wrong, then they'll try and improve it and stuff like that. So I'm asking these young upcoming models, try and get a reputable agency to be able to develop, not even about how much work you'll get, but grow you into the industry, show you what to do, how well so and so has been. But you must do due diligence. You might go to an agency where this guy is starting. He has nothing, you're the first model and stuff like that. Then at the stage where you are, you're already at that level representing Kenya internationally. Then you're going to an agency where there's nothing. That means you're developing for this guy his career. A lot of people, if you ask them, what have you done in the modeling industry? They've done nothing. I just decided I want to do it without knowledge. So what happens is it kills your career as a person because this guy is going to take you back. Imagine you've gotten yourself into city model, a Juma. That means already there's knowledge you're going to get. You might stay there for 2 years without getting a job, but there's so much knowledge that you've gotten from the agency. And by the time they are choosing you as one of the models, there's something they've seen into you. Some people want to grow very fast. Nimeka pale pambazuka for 6 months yapata kazi. F those guys, and you are done. Kumbe your time and chance is almost there. If you listen to Justice says, every other time he came back to Nderito for advice. Mzae, this is what is happening. I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He might not want a coin from him, but just the wisdom from the old man changes the entire thinking about everything. A lot of models have gone into big mistakes. In the last 1 or 2 months, we found a lot of models in a place where they're wrongly, and probably, I don't judge them. A lot of people judged some of them that went to the internet marketing without knowing. Your friend might tell you, boss, kuna pesa, let's do this ABCD, and you get yourself into, I hear the president saying, just dial and dollar in gears. So probably this model just said, president amesema, so I'll remove dial and get money, without knowing the consequences. So later on, you realize the whole world is judging you. I want to advise us people, everybody falls, and we fall sometimes so hard. Today to be me, tomorrow is you. A lot of time we are very fast to discussing our people. I may fall, and I want the person close to me, because we are all models, to hold my hand and say, okay, mommy, there's a problem, how do we help and stuff. Let's not get guys going into mental health, because our best friends are the ones talking about our mistakes. we are in an industry. People see modeling as one of the easiest industry. It's one of the hardest. There's so many challenges. Sometimes you'd go looking for a job and you can't get the job because there's some things that you morally are not for you. Then you lose it. Somebody else will come with lesser requirement, but will get it because they're ready to offer. So again, this industry might look very glamorous, easy, looking nice, smile and stuff. A lot of people are crying behind the scene. Let's be our friends' cares, so we need to care for everyone. Mr. Justice, before we close, I would like you to advise the young people. You've worked a lot with them on how well you can achieve whatever you want in this world. Anybody can get whatever they want. The president said he sold chicken and now he is who he is because probably since 92 he's been persistent on what he wants.
First thing I would say, have a mentor. Like have someone you look up to, someone who has seen it before you, you know. If you are doing photography, have someone who has done photography like 5 years and above. If you are a model, have someone who has done model, maybe has contested bigger pageantry or bigger stage than you. At least they will be able to advise you on one or two things or on what to do. Second, I don't advocate for microwave things. Like today you are starting your career, next week, next month you want to be like me, you know. Me, I started this thing kitambo and I have seen it all. I have seen the growth, gradually growth. I learn, I make mistakes. I do some work without a contract. I don't get paid, you know. At least when you have a mentor, you ask, I've been given this work, what's this amount of money, what do I do, contract, what do I write on the contract? They will be able to advise you, you know. And for models, because I've seen several of them, at least have a project. Have something that people can identify you even after. Like today, she is the Miss Heritage. Maybe probably next year she won't be. Maybe someone else. But I will remember her for the Miss Heritage after days are gone, you know. There are several people I know, maybe you can remember because of their projects.
Yes.
The jiggers.
Cecilia Mwangi.
Yeah, I was so small by that time. I probably in primary or high school. I didn't know anything about modeling, but I remember seeing on TV, given a car, maybe with a project on jiggers. She was so like impressed. She was everywhere on TV, on magazine. Grace Wanene. She's doing she's doing the project is called the education one.
Yeah, in the new years.
Yes. So at least have something people will remember you even after, and maybe your community, you know, start somewhere, build it, then before you know it, it's something maybe even you can be able to depend on as a mode of survival for yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Well said. Hilda, just before we go, we are very grateful you representing Kenya. We'd like to know how do you want us to help in terms of voting, what is needed for us. Most of the time, beauty queens go internationally just silently and suffer alone with the franchise owner. Apart from that, could you give some advice to the young people who want to be heritage next after you?
First, I'd like to thank everyone who voted for me. There was an online voting for the international competitions and we emerged position 5. So I'm really grateful for everyone who voted for me. At the moment, the support I'd like is for people to like and comment under my photos or videos in the Miss Heritage Global page. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Kenyans, we need to support our heritage. We need to support our models out there, be it the male or the female. She is representing our country, and this is key. Kenya is known for its heritage. She is not just going in as another Kenyan. She's going in as the people that will spend so much time enjoying, celebrating the heritage of Kenya. This is the Maasai. So once again, thank you so much, Justice, for coming. Thank you so much, Hilda. Before we close this session, I want to thank Photo Magic. I want to thank the people behind the screen. Marvin for struggling to make sure this happens. Dixon for making sure the photos, the videos are in place. One and only big Chelsea fan, Mr. Newton, for being part of the photography. Last and not least, Mr. Biggie, for making sure our sound check, our colors are correct. We'll keep providing this with God's power. I decided, with the knowledge, the little knowledge I have, I'm not going to bed without giving it out. So asante sana. See you in the next episode, episode 3 of season 2. If you have not subscribed, kindly subscribe to Sash and Style. Make sure the world out there knows exactly what's happening. We want the entire fraternity in the modeling industry to make sure we're doing it correctly. We're not going there because our friends have told us you look nice. Get the knowledge from this podcast and go with a lot of knowledge into pageantry. Asante sana. See you next week, same time, same channel. Sash and Style. Good night.